I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, January 2nd of 2024. First up is messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
I have none.
Next up is petitions and remonstrances. If anyone is here to make a public comment about something that is not on the agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If you are on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to indicate you'd like to make a comment. Again, this is comment on something not on the agenda. Okay, thanks.
Request. I see Margie Rice has entered the room. Could we move staff reports and other business up under petitions and remonstrances as a way to save some time for Margie?
That sounds good.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
Put it on the end of new business for you.
Okay. Since it's
we
part
can
of,
move an item. Yeah, we can.
Do you want to do it after consent agenda and just move it up to the first item of regular business then? Let's do that.
Okay.
Move number 6 to number 1.
Yeah, we'll do that when it comes time.
Sounds good.
All right. Back to you.
All right. Next up is Title VI abatement. First, we have request for abatement at 622 North Street.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Davis. I work with the Hand Department as a neighborhood compliance officer. I began issuing notices of violation in November. It would be November 9th of 2023, all the way through to December 15th, 2023. I'm requesting a continuous abatement at this property.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Could you let us know what contact you've had with the property owners?
Yes, I have not had contact with the property owner. Our department did hear from someone that was representing the property owner as a realtor who had called to inquire about evicting unwanted occupants of the property. And so I was able to communicate with him. I called him just to let him know that these notices had been issued and that I would be coming to ask for a continuous abatement so that he could relay that information to the property owner if needed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any public comment on this item?
I do have James White on Zoom who would like to speak on it. I've asked him to unmute. And James, you may.
Yeah, we cannot hear you, James. Do you think we have a Zoom sound issue?
Is the sound on up here?
Yeah, just one moment. We're gonna see. It's because it's picking up on the closed caption. I'm assuming he's unmuted, but we don't have audio.
James, are you able to hear us speak? Yes.
That was a faint.
Okay, James, if you could turn up the volume on your computer, I believe that may correct the issue.
Somehow.
Just one moment. We're gonna do some troubleshooting here.
Shoot.
Heard it that way.
Are you sure we've got?
We have audio, it's something
Mute
else.
audio
It's something that Kelly showed me before.
If you go to audio settings.
Yeah, the problem seems to be on our end, Mr. White. Honestly, with the way we're able to see your closed caption, if you could begin your comments, we'll read your closed caption and see if that will work. Because we can see your closed captions.
This is for the second item, I think, this comment.
Oh. Mr. White, I'm sorry, is this for the north or the West Gray Street or the North Street address? Okay. We're on a different agenda item right now, Mr. Gray, or Mr. White. We're on a different street. So we'll come back to the 719 West Gray Street is the next agenda item. So we'll come back to that in just a moment.
Hello,
So-
John Hewitt from the Hand Department. If I may, the owner of the North Street property, 622 North Street, resides in Tennessee. And I think that the attorney, the property owner is Jessica Thompson in Boiling Springs, Tennessee. And I believe that this attorney is speaking to the correct item, but maybe his letter has the wrong address.
Because he referenced the Hillenberg.
It was, yes, the
But that
previous
was the
owner of that property
Gray
was
Street
Ms.
previous.
Hillenberg.
Oh, that is Gray Street. 1719 West Gray Street. So I guess he just happens to be in Tennessee.
I wondered about that.
Okay, wow, this is really quite a... I missed what he said. Can we scroll back through that?
So he's an attorney from Tennessee calling about, I believe, the Hillenbergs from the second property on Gray Street, even though the property owner of North Street resides in Tennessee, correct?
We have, yes, we have two properties
That
that
involve
belonged
Tennessee.
previously to Hillenbergs, and we have one property owner who resides in Tennessee and one property owner who resides in Bloomington. So there may, yeah, we have a difficulty here that is, has confounded us, I believe, at the moment.
Is
And-
Hillenberg the name related in any way to the first property on North Street?
Yes,
Oh, both.
which, yes, that was my assumption, is that Mr. White, is the property owner that you represent Jessica Thompson?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
Are these
We're
both
all-
part of the same
yes,
estate?
Jessica Thompson is the property owner of 622 North Street, not the Gray Street. So it may be that he received a letter that had transposed
Gray Street.
addresses
Okay.
between the two. That's what I was stepping up to say.
Okay, so Mr. White, you do represent Miss Jessica Thompson of Bowling Springs, Tennessee. Okay.
okay.
Now that we have that issue resolved, go ahead and continue to state your public comment.
So I have, as you can see,
So, Mr. White, if I may ask, have you all started the eviction process?
Mr. Shaddy, as I said, I sent him the documents on last Friday, and he was to file those as soon as he got them.
Got it.
That was, I told him, whatever we need to do after that.
Yep.
Probably get local counsel.
Perfect. Okay. What I'm going to suggest, this is Adam Wason again, Public Works Director for the city. I'm going to suggest that the board do uphold the abatement for 622 North Street. In the meantime, if you folks would continue to work on your eviction process with those that are inhabiting the property, we'll remain in communication. Does our staff have your contact information?
Ms. Rosenberg was kind enough to send me the info.
Perfect. So we have that. We will.
And I have hers, and I will.
Okay. So we're going to ask that the board uphold the resolution or the request for the abatement. In the meantime, if you folks keep working on the eviction process, we will work with our staff to make sure that we contact you before an abatement is actually scheduled. Yes, go ahead, John.
Mr. White, I'm going to ask that you make an attempt to contact the City of Bloomington Legal Department. You should be able to find that through the City of Bloomington website.
We'll copy a message to him on that.
And speak with the attorneys here, and we can work with you as much as we can through this process.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, Mr. White, we'll contact you with an email. We'll copy our city legal department, and in the meantime, we will ask that the order for abatement be upheld, and we'll remain in communication over the next several weeks, okay?
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a good evening, sir.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right.
I guess just a quick question for hand staff, considering what was said. Do we have any idea if BPD has been dispatched to that property or any call record?
We have no idea of that.
Okay.
The only person that we've spoken to prior to this meeting was Ryan Shaddy, the
Okay.
Realtor.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. White.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. White, for helping us sort out those details. Oh, we've lost our feed entirely. Okay. Are we still on Zoom?
We are.
Okay. All right, any other public comment on this item before we move forward?
There's nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the request for abatement at 622 North Street.
And I second. I'll call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is request for abatement at 1719 West Gray Street.
Okay, again, Rebecca Davis, Neighborhood Compliance Officer with the Hand Department. I'm requesting a continuous abatement at this property. I began issuing notices of violation in September through mid-December of 2023. I have spoken with the property owner. He is aware of the notices of violation, or I'm sorry, he is not the listed property owner. He's the son of the people listed as the property owners. They have passed away, according to him. The planning department is aware that we have started issuing our notices of violation. There are also violations that fall under Title 20, which would be under their jurisdiction. And they have issued, I know they issued a warning at some point in the past, and then tomorrow they're going to be issuing another notice of violation to the property through the mail.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Was there any further staff report on this item? This was the Gray Street. It's all clarified. Okay, great. All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request for abatement at 1719 West Gray Street.
And I second that motion. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have the bonding agreement with City of Bloomington Utilities. We have the bonding agreement with Indiana University, extension number 3 for Park Mobile, revised resolution 2023-86 for Freeze Fest, request to extend use of parking spots at North Grant and East 6th from Red Truck Bloomington, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Do we have any public comment on anything within the consent agenda?
I see nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting of January 2nd, 2024.
And I second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have new business. For new business, I would like to make a motion that we move Resolution 2024-002, confirm appointment of Adam G. Wason as Director of Public Works, to item number 1 under new business.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is my very first thing I get to do as Corporation Counsel here at the City of Bloomington. So thank you for entertaining this request. Adam Wason has been appointed the Public Works Director by Mayor Thompson. And by statute, in Indiana, the Board of Public Works has to approve or confirm that appointment. So I'm here tonight, and I want to give credit to Colleen Newbill, who's the attorney who works with you, who very quickly put this together today, so she gets all the credit for doing the work. And I hope that you can approve it and continue Adam as the Public Works Director, because he does an awesome job. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, thank you. Questions from the board?
Not a question, but just a statement that Adam is an incredible public servant and a great director of this department, and I'm very pleased to approve this resolution.
Thank you, I agree.
And I second those comments. It has been a delight to serve alongside Mr. Wason. So appreciate this appointment being brought forward.
Thank you.
All right. Any public comments on this?
Oh, I hope not.
There's nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-002 to confirm the appointment of Adam G. Wason as the Director of Public Works.
And I second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is request for sidewalk closure extension on West Allen Street from F.A. Wilhelm.
Hi, this is Alex Gray from engineering. So this is a sidewalk extension, or you could also kind of call it as a retroactive permit, because this was from an existing permit that was done prior to October 12th. The permit actually was for 2 weeks, and then it was supposed to end on October 12th, and the sidewalk had remained closed and is still closed up to this day. But F.A. Wilhelm is working with Catalent, and they are requesting that the sidewalk, they have a new permit for the sidewalk that is missing currently to be extended for 3 months. And at this time, staff does not approve that. So we would let the board make their decision on it.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
So just to clarify what we discussed in the work session, staff is supportive of the board either tabling or denying this request?
Yes,
Okay, thank
that is
you.
correct.
Information from F.A. Wilhelm.
No.
I'd ask that you deny the request then at that point.
All right. Any other questions from the board? Any public comment on this item?
I have nothing on Zoom.
All right. Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we deny the request for sidewalk closure extension on West Allen Street from F.A. Wilhelm.
And I second. I will call the roll. Corone.
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is request for lane and sidewalk closure from AEG.
It's Alex Gray from engineering again. So this one is a typical permit that we've had for probably well over a year now. This is going to be 2 more areas for AEG and their fiber project that's been going across the city. This one will include 2 areas. It'll be East Allen Street, which will cover West 2nd Street to East Davis Street, and then South Rogers Street to South Lincoln Street. And this will be primarily aerial, which means they'll be attaching to poles, and they will not be digging as many holes, or they will not be disrupting the flow of pedestrians and traffic as much, but they will still require to have lane and sidewalk closures. The second one is going to be South Kirby Alley, and this one is going to be a similar case where it's going to be primary aerial, but they will still have some underground. And this one will be East 3rd Street to East 2nd Street, and then South Washington Street to South Park Avenue.
All right, any questions on this item? I have none. Any public comments on this item?
There is no comment on Zoom.
All right, thanks. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request for lane and sidewalk closure from AEG.
And I second. I will call the roll. Corone.
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is request for lane closure along East 10th and South Washington from Lineal Contracting.
Alex Gray from engineering. This one is going to be Lineal for doing work for AT&T, and they're going to be doing work starting kind of on the state road side, so it'll be state right of way, but this permit does not cover that, but they'll be continuing from that through East 10th Street into city right of way, and then going to Washington Street, down Washington Street, and then a little bit on South Lincoln Street. And then they have a number of smaller areas that are more like street corners that they're gonna have to do some minor work for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
I have nothing on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request for lane closures along East 10th and South Washington from Lineal Contracting.
And I second. I will call the roll. Corone.
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is request for sidewalk closure along South Hawthorne Drive from T-Mobile.
Hi, it's Alex Gray from engineering. This one is going to be a sidewalk closure, and then it's South Hawthorne between East 3rd and East Atwater Drive for a small cell tower installation. So in this case, they are going to be mainly working on a pole that's already existing. They will not have a new pole be installed, and they are planning on doing it from March 1st to March 21st. And then addressing from the work session, we had mentioned that there is the Hawthorne project that is going to be happening there. There is going to be work in that area. We don't know exactly which side of the project they are going to be starting on first. However, they're not going to be affecting the sidewalk at that point. So they should be able to coordinate the sidewalk to where they can detour to the other side and not have any disruptions. But we also plan on coordinating with the project managers and the contractors.
Thanks. Any questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
I have nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request for sidewalk closures along South Hawthorne Drive from T-Mobile.
And I second. I will call the roll. Corone.
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up is Resolution 2024-001, uphold order to remove 410 through 414 South Walnut Street.
Hello, John Hewitt from Hand again. This is a continuation of the discussion of this property that we started at the last meeting of the Board of Public Works. where you upheld one of the orders that we had, which was to vacate these properties. Now we are asking, again, that you uphold the order to remove, that we have issued to the property owner for these properties.
Thank you. Questions on this item? All right. I believe the property owner is with us. Does the property owner or their representative have any comment?
Thank you very much. So we were here December 5th, the last time.
Can you state your name for the record?
Jason McCauley, attorney for the property owner. December 5th, we made a request. We anticipated that we were going to need some more time in order to remove the property that's at the south end of this. This is one parcel, 2 buildings, 3 addresses. The southernmost building is 414 South Walnut. The order to vacate, the order to seal was upheld as to both buildings. The order to remove was continued to today for both buildings. It was always the property owner's intention to remove 414. We just needed to get estimates to do that. The order to remove is to go into place by January 16th, not to go into place. It's to be removed by January 16th. Our request to the board is to extend that by 30 days. The application for the demolition permit was submitted immediately after that December 5th hearing. We've got an email from gas company saying it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks, and that email came in on December 15th, saying that it would be 3 to 4 weeks to get that the gas service cut off. We don't have the demolition permit in place yet for that, so we're asking for the order to be modified as to 414 South Walnut to be extended to February 16th. So the order, we're in agreement that it can be upheld, but modified to February 16th. 410, 412 is one building. It's on the north side of the property. It is a contributing property. There has not been an application submitted for demolition. It's the owner's intention to work with hand to make that property, to rehabilitate it, and to make it occupied as early as the end of February. We sent a request to council for hand, asking for an extension to continue this hearing, just as to 410 and 412 to the February 27th hearing date. Their position was that there's been intrusion into the property on several occasions, that hand staff has gone by. The property's been sealed. People are now going underneath the porch and accessing the basement according to hands inspections. The property owner has reached out to BPD. Sergeant Fabris has indicated, he sent an email today saying that they've been out there. They've had 5 interactions with people at the property since December 5th. That they have on each occasion. The people have left the properties without incident. There's been no fires. There's been nobody in the property with drug use. So, and then I should back up, also security. We've had security going out there on a routine basis, private security, and they have not encountered anyone. So the property owner is taking all measures that they can to try to keep it sealed. What they're asking and what they would ask the board to do would be to modify the order to remove, to extend that to be effective February 28th, 2024, but conditioned upon that the order to remove would be rescinded automatically by its terms in the event that there is a hand occupancy permit applied for by that date. And we can't control, obviously, if there's an inspection done by that date, but we can make every effort to rehab the property and to schedule the inspection by that date. So those are the modifications that we're requesting. What I also wanted, at the last hearing, Mr. Arthur was here, and he made the request of the board, if you'll issue this order, the city hand always has the opportunity to not enforce it. The problem with that, from our perspective, is we don't have that authority. So as the property owner, as soon as this order is upheld, we have a 10-day time window to file an appeal to the circuit court. And in order to preserve that right, that's what we'd have to do, really. And so that middle ground, we think, is in regard to 410, 412, is to ask for a conditional approval. That is to say, if we get it occupied by February 28th or in occupied condition that it's rehabbed, then that order would automatically be rescinded.
And so just to clarify, by February 28th of this year, you think it's possible to rehab and have that one occupied?
410, 412.
Okay.
So we talked a lot about timelines in the work session. I'd like to get clarification on timelines because I'm hearing, I understand where the time of January 16th is coming from, I think from the original order to remove. But I think we're operating logistically on a different timeline, so I just want to hear a little bit more about that.
Calling Newville City Legal, yes, you're correct. The January deadline is from the original notice of the order to remove. From our discussions internally with HAND would be amenable to having the 60-day deadline that we normally would adhere to apply from the date that the board approves that order to vacate. So that would kind of encompass the February deadline automatically. HAND does not agree with extending that any further, but that would be under the condition that both the order to remove is applicable to both 410, 412, and 414.
Okay.
60 days from upholding the order, which theoretically would be today.
Correct.
Which includes that possibility of end of February timeline that the appellant, that they were speaking of.
Yes. I'm not going to do the math in my head, but I'm going to assume
Yeah,
correct.
it's very, I mean, it's very, it basically is the end of
It would essentially
February.
be the beginning of March, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, can you just state for the board what the city's full recommendation is then on this?
The city's full recommendation would be that the order to remove would be applicable to both 410/412 and 414, so that all structures on the property with the deadline to comply by 60 days from today's order.
Are there questions, other questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this item?
There's nothing on Zoom.
All right, thanks. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-001 to uphold the order to remove 410 through 414 South Walnut Street.
And I second that motion. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
No staff reports this evening.
All right, and we do not have any claims to approve this evening. So if there is no other business, I will call for adjournment.